Can you see that okay?
Yes, looks good, Aaron. Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the June 9th, 2022 Allegheny Clarion Valley School Board Workshop. Tonight's meeting will be conducted virtually and the Zoom links are always available at acvsd.org. I thank all the school board members, administrators, and members from the public for attending this evening's meeting. During this workshop, I will provide the school board members with information that will help clarify agenda items listed below. Keep in mind that we will be discussing the 2022-2023 AC Valley School District budget this evening. Once completed, this budget will be formally approved on June 16th, 2022, and submitted to the Pennsylvania Department of Education prior to June 30th, 2022. In addition, we will follow this meeting with an executive session to discuss the Act 44 school safety report as well. Once presented to the school board, I will also submit that to the Pennsylvania Department of Education. And as a friendly reminder, please keep your mic off until you're ready to speak and just jump in if you need any clarification or want to make a point throughout the meeting. So at this time, Madam Secretary, could you please conduct the roll call?
Carrie Armagost.
Here.
Megan Dreher.
Here.
Brady Fight. Diane Page.
Here.
Jeff Powell. Corey Sherman.
Here.
Javine Stump.
Here.
Eric Sundling. And Kelly Terwilliger.
Here.
Thank you, Tammy. This evening, we do have Stan Bailey joining us. He did log on prior to the meeting, and Stan would like to talk about the Career Center runs. And Stan, as you're aware, we will be discussing the Career Center runs this evening and then voting on it next Thursday, and Stan's on that meeting as well. So Stan, you got 5 minutes to get started. If you'd like to unmute your mic and address the school board and administration, the floor is all yours.
All right. First off, I would just like to thank the school board and the administration, and thank you, David, for allowing me to attend the meeting. And just first off, I know it's been it's a different world that we're in now than we were in 2018. Yes, 2018, 2019. COVID was a very difficult time for everybody. And I guess I was sort of hoping this year would be a normal year, and then costs are going out of sight right now. And first off, I just wanted to address a couple of issues that have been discussed in the past couple of meetings. And first off, I just wanted to clarify that as far as contract negotiations for the buses, this is pretty much all done based off what the school formula is, or the state formula. You know, it's size of bus, age of bus, number of students, and number of miles. And then there's a state multiplier attached to that. So, you know, as you were going and getting an older fleet, because you had to finance over a longer term, you know, as your bus gets older and repair costs are going up, all of a sudden you're making less money because of that. And then one of the other things I wanted to address was with the activities reimbursement. Or, you know, we're no longer doing that because of COVID. We lost drivers and we're not able to keep that up. But I guess as I was going through information, I came across in 2013, 2014 school year, we were making $2.38 a mile. And currently, I believe it is $2.39 a mile. And I guess I would just like to ask who here that is working for basically the same pay rate as they did in 2013. The next thing I'd like to address, and this is one, we had a driver retire, Viviana Chestnut, and whenever she was driving for us, we were running the bus out of the Quaker State Plaza. And it was at reduced miles. When we hired the new driver, we chose to bring that home because he's a new driver and because of numerous small accidents happened at the plaza, and you had to eat those repairs. But I just wanted to let the school know that we made that move January 1st. We were within, you know, I didn't come back to the school and ask to renegotiate the contract for the higher miles. And that saved the school $6,026. And I guess, you know, I've tried to be there and we've tried to help the school as much as we can. The next thing I'd like to just look at is fuel cost. I know fuel cost, you know, we come to ask if there's any room to help. And I know the school, yeah, you're on a very tight budget as well. But I just wanted to let the school know, let them be aware that with fuel prices right now, let's say, and I just called today to get an updated quote. It's $5.25 a gallon is what I'd be paying, and that's without all the additional state and federal taxes. And I have to buy 1,000 gallons at a time at that. Well, with the 4 contracts plus the Career Center, I'm running 9,750 gallons of fuel roughly per year. And that added fuel cost over let's say what it's historically been. You know, we've had our ups and downs, but historically it's in about, without tax, about that a $2.75 a gallon range. Well, that is $24,000 of additional costs that we're having to absorb. And on top of that, our maintenance costs have been increasing. The older buses, when we got into this, did not have near the emission control equipment on it. And now, and I know several other contractors had this, the EGR cooler replacement is basically a $4,000 repair. And that's not engine repair, that's just on an exhaust system. You know, tires, $1,800 to $2,000. So I guess I just wanted to make the school board aware of what our costs are. And, you know, and that's, I guess, why I placed the bid that I did for the Career Center. Okay, and looking back, we've been transporting Career Center since 2006. Okay, and back in 2006, when a new bus was $63,000. I guess I was a young, hungry contractor, and I put in a bid for $97.65 to run the VOTEC. And won the bid, and not sure if it was a good thing or not, but we did it. And with the hopes that there would be increases, where there were minimal increases through that time period. And then the school made the change where we had to, Career Center was coming back after school was let out in the afternoon. So then we went out and purchased the bus, and we ran that from September of 2013 through May of 2016. We had a dedicated bus for the Career Center. Times changed. The time of dismissal changed on Career Center. It went back to being hauled with one of the normal buses, and we were at $145, which was basically the state contracted, using the state formula for the miles was basically where it was at. And, did that for a year or two. Then it was another contractor come in and underbid us. We were given the option to match that bid, which we have. And, we've been running at $125 a day. And I guess as I was putting my bid together at $155 a day, I was going back to that rate that we had back in I think it was a 2016, 2017 school year, going back to what it was. And then I looked at what the indexed increase of 7%, and it calculated out to about $155. And I guess I'm having to base this on, fuel prices right now. You're hearing, is it going to be $5 or is it going to be $8 a gallon in the fall? That's what we don't know. And I know with the school, you're probably not going to be able to help us if the fuel costs do go up. But, I guess I have to bring my bid up to try and leave a little, right now, I'm good to about $7 a gallon with this bid, as far as, being about breaking even at $7 a gallon at the $155 a day. But if it goes more than that, I'm losing money. And I guess we've been there. We've tried to help the school out, as much as we can. We currently have a spare bus that is a newer vintage. All my buses are 2016s and 2017s. So my spare bus is new. We've used it to fill in for runs for us, and other contractors have used it. So I guess we're trying to help the school out as much as we can. And we just like to, as you're reviewing the Career Center contract, if you could just take some of these other items into consideration and let us know what we can do to help. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Stan. Are there any questions or comments from any of the school board members at this time? Stan, speaking on behalf of the school district, we really do appreciate everything that you've done, as well as the other contractors. You've been very loyal. All of our bus contractors and van contractors are fantastic to work with. So we do thank you for everything you've done and continue to do for us.
All right. Thank you, David.
Okay, Stan, you're welcome to stay on or jump off. I'm just going to work our way down through the agenda at this time.
Yeah, I'm planning on staying on, so thank you.
Okay, sure thing. We'll be talking later. We don't have anything under presentations, and I want to open it up to see if the school board has any concerns that they'd like to address at this time. Hearing none, on page 7, we have one conference request, and that was submitted by Trevor Heil. And we have a number of elementary teachers seeking permission to attend a virtual math training with that Graham Fletcher. And that's the basis of what Trevor had presented to us a while back during a voting meeting. And as you can see, that's being paid for through the ESSER funding. This request came in late. It was something that Trevor was very excited about. He worked with Lori and they came back and brought the proposal down. So you can see the dates. The staff are going to do this on their own time, and I really appreciate their work and everything that Trevor does down here as well. So hopefully the school board supports that as well. And then since we have a limited number of gifted students district-wide, Allie Atwood's going to take over the gifted program, and she submitted dates, and this could have been put on the January agenda, but we wanted to make sure that we get it out in front of you this month. She submitted the dates to attend the gifted consortiums up at IU6. So once approved, then she'll be able to not only attend trainings, but take the kids up for various competitions. Any questions on that before we move back into the consent agenda? Okay, Aaron, back up letter B. I spoke to Doug Mays the other day. If you recall, Doug's a retired administrator, and he also substitute teaches and is a substitute administrator. Doug left in January to take over a job at his old school district, and he wants to come back for one more year to help out with the administration and teachers. Probably can't sub every day, but he'd be more than interested Monday through Thursday at the same rate as we paid him in the past. So I strongly encourage you to consider that as well, because Doug does help out Bill, Lori, and myself. Letter C is a CNC router and software package that was donated by the Mercer County Career Center to Mr. Joe Graff's class up there. The router is on campus, and just because we accept donations through the school board, this motion's here, and then the Mercer County Career Center needs some documentation from Tammy once approved. And again, we thank the Mercer County Career Center for the equipment. It is being used. And then letter D is a request from the Band Boosters and Christy Schaefer to use the concession stand. They've been doing this for probably as long as the concession stand's been up there at all varsity football games during the 22-23 school year. Are there any questions about the items under the consent agenda? Moving on to finance and purchase, we have a number of items here that both Andrea and I will work together to explain. A through H will pay the bills next Thursday, and then letter I, we approve these accounts each year. They're the secondary depository accounts, and PLGIT, it stands for Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust. There's about $1,000 in there, and then you'll see the other accounts that we utilize up at the high school as well. And nothing changes. We're just putting it in front of the school board for transparency as well as auditing purposes. And on the top of page 2, each June, we put the updated cost in front of the school board as a informational piece. And as you can tell, we have medical insurance from Highmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield. The top grid is for the support staff and inactive support staff that retired under the clause, and is broken down by individual parent and child, and then husband and wife and family as well. And the rates vary. And you can tell by that family is pretty similar throughout all the different groups. $1,852 per month, which comes in just under $22,000 per year. And then the grid below that's for the professional staff meet and discuss. And then the final grid is for the inactive teasers and retired teachers and administrators. And again, all those numbers are very similar throughout there, ranging from, you know, $629.52 for an individual the whole way up to $1,852 for a family per month. On the top of page 3, we do have information about the vision assurance, and remains the same for 22-23 for both the faculty, administrators, meet, discuss, as well as support staff. And we get our vision insurance through Vision Benefits of America. Disability doesn't change either, just because there's not a renewal until February of 2023, but we just put it on there for information. And then dental insurance, you will see that's the one area that did increase. And you can tell from the 21-22 school year up until next year's projection, It went up a significant amount from a single with 2139 last year. It's 2764, and then a family, it went from 6416 up to 8290, and everything else remains the same throughout. Life insurance, you can tell that everything remains the same, and there's different groups listed within the life insurance company, and that's CM, Regent, Solutions, Sun Life. I know there's a lot of information, although a lot of those numbers remain the same. Is there any need for clarification or more details about any of the information presented under insurance? Okay, on page 4, letter K, I'm going to have Andrea help explain this piece. She did send out the Homestead Farmstead tax exclusion resolution to the school board today by email, but Andrea has been working with Emmy Faust on this. So Andrea.
Thank you. The first page that everybody sees is the Farmstead Homestead resolution page. And this is what will be approved next week. The total amount from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania this year was $778,330,000. AC Valley School District received $352,711.84 of that money. And we had an additional $477.51 remaining from the 21-22 property tax reduction fund, leaving a total towards next year of $353,189. The total amount given to us this year in comparison to last year we received $279,807.91. So that is up a little this year. And if you look down towards the bottom of that page, the proposed homestead and farmstead exclusion for the 22-23 school year would be $239.29. The additional sheet is just my worksheet, how I calculated everything. But I did just want to give you an update of the total numbers for each of the counties. So Armstrong County had 180 homestead properties and 0 farmstead. Butler County had 154 homestead and 3 farmstead. Clarion County had 554 homestead and 14 farmstead, and Venango County had 568 homestead and 27 farmstead. Looking down through there, there is the proposed millage rates on that worksheet in item 3. If you look on there, you can see Armstrong County is, we chose to raise to the index of 4.6, making the millage rate of 31.600. Butler County, millage rate 78.920. Clarion County, 52.070. And Venango County, 15.300. Looking down at the bottom of that page, the total tax relief once distributed would be $353,187.60. So very close to that total of $353,189, as close as we could get it. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Thank you, Andrea. We'll talk about the budget here shortly. Letter L, that's a motion to approve all of our federal programs and grants going through the district budget as revenue coming in, expenditures going out. Letter M, N, and O, those are the solicitor and attorneys we utilize. We use Zach primarily as our solicitor. As you can see, Zach's rates have not changed, $100 per hour for attorney time, $30 for legal assistant time. Mark Kuhar, the personnel attorney, his rates are $225 per hour for attorney time, last year $210. 185 for associate time, last year 175, and 135 for paralegal, and last year it was 90. Then letter O, we utilize Knox Law as well. It's been a good number of years since we've had their contract and even utilized them for specific items, but just for transparency, I had Bob Zaruto send down information. So their general attorney fees are $170. Their special education fees are $210. Labor is $200, and paralegals $100. And just keep in mind that we utilize the attorneys and solicitor only when needed. I do as much research as I can. I present information to the attorneys when I need legal advice. Primarily work with Zach. If I have a personnel issue, then we go through QR, and special ed issues go through Knox Law primarily. But a lot of times Zach and I will, spend a little bit of time, and they all take phone calls, and they run it up 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it may be. And I try to be short and succinct when using them. But that's the information about the legal team that we have. And then moving down to letter P is a discussion related to the budget. And I'm going to turn it back over to Andrea, and she's going to provide you with some information this evening.
I will be finishing up the budget. I just received some final information that I really needed today to complete that. I will get out detailed budgets for everybody at the beginning of the week so we can go over everything thoroughly at the voting meeting next week. But as far as the mills right here, I can go through those again so you can see them compared to last year. The Armstrong County again is 31.600 for the 22-23 year compared to last year's 33.31. Butler County looking at 78.920 compared to the 70.11 last year. Clarion is going to 52.070 versus the 56.58. And Venango will be at 15.300 up from the 13.96. Everything else remains the same as last year, the per capita, the earned income, and the real estate transfer tax. Are there any questions on that?
Andrea, will you send out information to the school board members once you have that budget completed as far as the overall revenue expenditures and the
Yes,
differences?
I'm going to send everything out early next week so that everybody can review it prior to Thursday's meeting. Yes, I will.
And then
send
we'll
it
have
out.
the actual numbers on the voting meeting for
Yes.
the school board on Thursday.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Andrea or myself about the budget? I did meet with folks from the Pennsylvania Department of Education as well as the governor's office today, 3:30. They sent out a Microsoft Teams meeting, and there was about 275 superintendents on there. And we talked about the budget. Right now is a very, very busy time in Harrisburg. And the crux of the meeting was the fact that Pennsylvania has more money in Harrisburg now than they've ever had. And if the Governor Wolf knew the amount of money that they had out there right now, he would have had even more money in their educational budget. And if you remember, Governor Wolf has proposed a historical increase in educational funding. There's a lot of pushback in Harrisburg as far as these proposals, but they really want us, as well as the school board members, to do our due diligence to contact our local legislators and push for increased school funding. They didn't throw out exact numbers, but it was a very meaningful and compassionate meeting that we had with them. So we got to make a push for the next month to increase the funds going into public education. As you heard from Stan, I mean, our bills just continue to increase, and we have to support the local school district. So that's my plug for the up and coming state budget. Moving into personnel, we'll skip over A through D and just briefly touch on letter E, which is a motion to provide Jody Shakely upon her retirement a $25 per hour stipend. And next month I'll put in a cap. And Jody and I talked, but we're not going to exceed 5 hours per week for the year. And Jody does a lot of work within the district, and I foresee her having lots of phone calls. We also don't want to bog her down with it, but that's generally her hourly rate right there. So Jody's more than willing to help out. She's been training Ryan. Ryan's been in here for a couple weeks now and picking up everything that she's sharing very well. So we've got a good team over there, and Jody's willing to support us. Moving over to page 5, letter G. If you recall, back when ESSER came out, we had ESSER 1. We used the majority of that money for cleaning supplies, and ESSER 2, we had a little bit more money. And at the time, we had put on 2 4-hour, 30-minute custodians, one each building, and they walked through and cleaned up high traffic areas. Once the kids and staff was in here, they were wiping down desktops, tables, door handles, windows, blockers, you name it. Great addition to our staff. And I think that's part of the reason why we were able to keep COVID at bay initially. With that being said, like any other grant, the money's running out at the end of this year. So we make a motion to eliminate those 2 positions and then take those 2 employees and put them back into their current old role. And the 2 temporary custodians that came in, they were offered summer employment, but they were students. They both found additional work, one within their major and the other one closer to home. So it's a win-win for everybody throughout. We're glad to have the additional support, but now we're going to go back to our normal number of custodians. Letter I is a letter of resignation from Melinda Farrington. Keep in mind, Melinda was doing both the junior high as well as the senior high student council advisor. She's resigning as junior high. We do have another employee within the district who's interested in that position. So according to the contract, we're going to post that and hopefully fill that in July and give Melinda a little bit more support up at the high school. Letter K is our special education director contract. Key Solutions, educational staffing. This is the SRU group. The rates remain the same as last year. If you recall, it's $67 per hour. And we use the special ed director for roughly 21 hours per week. We did a little bit more because of the audit and the special ed plan and everything else coming down the pike this past year. But generally, 3 days a week, we have this person. We've been working with Dr. Inessa Steele for the past month. I did make a recommendation to keep Inessa for at least a year. We've had quite a turnover in that position, and hopefully we can keep her. She seems to be doing very well as far as working with the state auditor with our recent audit, as well as implementing some changes within our schedule. And then letter L, we have a number of contracts getting ready to be placed in front of the school board. The one that is completed and approved through the support staff is the Espa Agreement. And this particular agreement is a 3-year proposal. We modified the fair share language to bring that up to date, is aligned with the professional staff. We added the technology technician support specialist, which is Aaron Heil, and we added the part-time district secretary, which is Courtney Chalmers up at the high school, because prior to that, we did not have a technician and we had a full-time secretary. We eliminated some convoluted language within the child-specific aid healthcare package. So they'll be treated like everybody else. Again, if they're part-time, they won't be receiving the healthcare. If they're full-time, they will. There was a system that was in place before, depending on the number of hours and how many months they had worked. So it's a little bit easier for the business office. The insurance benefits mirror the professional staff. We went from a $300, $600 deductible to a $400, $800 deductible in network. Out of network, it went up to $800 and $1,600. And we also provided part-time employees with additional sick days. So they're aligned with their full-time counterparts. And we did this, through a lengthy discussion, but an agreement that, due to COVID, we want people to stay home. And the overall raise was the exact same as the professional staff. If you recall, They were 2.8, 2.8, 2.8 on their 3-year contract, and this support staff is a 3.4%, 2.5, and then 2.5% increase. And that's the proposal that the negotiation committee from the school board has in front of the full school board at this time. Currently, we're working with the business manager, director of building and grounds, food service director, meet and discuss, as well as the school police. And our goal was to have these done and completed in front of you next week. And I'm not sure if that's going to take place. We may be able to get a couple of them in front of you, but we still have negotiation going on. So I do thank Kelly and Diane for all the time they put in, as well as our employees working with us down through there. I know we covered a lot under personnel. Are there any questions or need for clarification at this time? Moving into instructional services. The first item that we have is the yearly update for the enrollment, class size, and staffing information for AC Valley. It's within your packet, but I'm just going to highlight some numbers. Total enrollment at the elementary school for the 21-22 school year was 316 students. We had 32 teachers. We had 7 students in the AC Valley cyber program and 14 students in outside cyber. At the high school, we have 262 students, 28 teachers. We have 40 kids who leave and go to the Career Center in the afternoon. We have 4 cyber students in our program and 20 outside cyber students. Total enrollment in the district, we're down by 1 from last year, and we're at 578 students. And I always hark back to the year that I started back in 06, 07, we had 920 students. We're down 342 students within the district. And then finally, the staffing information. We have 4 administrators, we have 11 cafeteria workers, 15 custodian and maintenance workers, 2 school nurses, 8 aides, 6 secretaries, 60 teachers, 2 counselors, 3 technicians, 1 school psychologist, 1 police officer, 1 study home monitor, 1 attendance officer, 1 athletic director, and we had a trainer, but right now that position vacated. So we have a total of 117 employees, not counting the coaches and drivers and everything that we have within the district. Underneath instructional services, you'll also see a motion to approve the graduating seniors of the class of 2022. And we did have our graduation ceremony. I'm sure Dr. Jordan's going to talk about it next week, but it went very well. Sunday afternoon, we had a limited number of staff here, but everybody who worked it did a great job. The kids graduated, went without any kind of flaws. We had great speakers. The kids did good. The guest speaker was fantastic, and it was fun for all. Moving on, we also have the 22-23 fundraising calendar in front of you. Keep in mind that our goal is always to not exceed 2 fundraising activities per week, and as you can see within that, it's pretty much filled full with boosters and clubs and stuff for the year. There's a couple openings, but Bill's been working on that. And then part of the comprehensive plan has a number of plans within them. And if you recall, we reviewed the teacher induction plan last month. We have the special education plan in front of you this evening. The special education plan needs to be on public display tomorrow for 28 days, and then in July we'll formally approve it. I'll submit it into the Department of Education as part of the comprehensive plan, and we'll have the comprehensive plan done and in front of you hopefully in July, maybe in August. It's been a relatively daunting task. We used a number of staff members and support from the Key Source Solution Group to complete this document. Worked very closely with Hannah Smith, and, folks from the SRU group, as well as data that I pulled together. But parts of the plan, there's a non-residential student oversight portion, which is a 1306. And just keep in mind that used to be the Mid-Atlantic Youth Program, but since they've dissolved, we don't have that. And we just outlined the fact that that program has been eliminated. There's a section incarcerated students, which we don't have anything. There's a whole piece on least restricted environment. So the goal of special education is to get as many students that have learning disabilities to be educated with their general education peers. Hopefully the IEP and the support systems that we have in place will level the playing field. With that being said, that was a part of our audit that we need to get better at. We were actually cited for not having enough of our students mainstream. So we'll be working with improving that, and we have an outline as far as the improvement plan. There's a portion as far as out of district placements, and I'm just going to review these real quickly just so that everybody knows that we use additional supports out there. We use the St. Stephen's Academy, Bradley School, Hoffman Academy, Keystone Elementary, North Clarion High School, Keystone High School, Clarion Elementary, Valley Grove Elementary, West Forest Elementary, West Forest Junior Senior High School, Clarion Career Center, and then Red Bank High School. And a number of those schools have various intermediate unit special education programs within it. Part of the special education plan is showing what we're doing to focus on the positive. So we have the positive behavior support system, the PBIS that you hear Lori and Bill talking about, and they do a great job implementing that. And that's pretty much setting the students up for success, rewarding them for doing well and not necessarily just waiting to punish them for making a mistake. And then it breaks down as far as the number of students and staff we have. We'll get this on display. I'll have to sign off on it, and then we'll get it uploaded. And that was a pretty big task that we have completed. Any questions on that special education plan? Okay. We also received a email from Dewey Irwin and the baseball team for their annual Florida trip. That's March 18th through the 25th. And Bill's not with us right now, but he was looking up the dates, and I don't believe there's any conflicts with the spring PSSA or Keystone testing at this time. I did talk to Coach Irwin about the students from Union School District, and they're part of this whole planning and preparation and traveling as well. So he's definitely got them included, and Scott has been involved as well. Nothing under policy this month or facilities. Mark will be here next month. And then now we'll get into transportation. And I'll turn it over to Mrs. Sherman. She's on the call right now, and she's done a little bit of work with the Clarion Career Center run. Laura?
Yeah, so I sent you the background of, since I was transportation director starting in 2016-17, and Stan did a good job of filling in the holes from prior to that. So I just kind of wanted to present you with the history of that. And I also sent you the 2 bids. So I guess that's kind of where we're at on which bid we'd like to go with. And if you have any questions for me about anything that I sent you, I'm willing to answer them tonight.
Okay, I'm sure we'll continue the discussion next week, and maybe the school board members need to think about it, and feel free to reach out to myself or Lori, and we'll provide you the additional information. Moving on to page 6, letter E. We do have 2 co-op agreements in front of you with the Union School District. Union had additional agreements over there as well, but we're not ready to enter into anything else except for cooperative spirit, cheerleading, and softball. So the Union Co-op Committee, as well as the AC Valley Co-op Committee, met. We had the discussion about this. I guess the only concern that we have with all these co-ops is transportation. You know, it's not cheap with the co-ops. It provides a wonderful opportunity for our students, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. So Mr. Sherman has been working collaboratively with the contractors to make that happen. That would be my only concern, but the cheerleaders are a wonderful group, and the softball team, both groups can, I guess, collaborate and field a more successful team that will provide more junior varsity games. And that's the one piece among other that the baseball team was successful with. In years past, we didn't have enough kids to run varsity, and it really impacted their ability to learn the sport and be productive members of a team whenever they hit varsity. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can let us know, or a member of the athletic committee. The football field renovation committee, we do have everybody together. We'll have our first meeting before next week's school board workshop. It's kind of hard to get everybody together, but we're going to continue to meet on a monthly basis and review grants, have an idea as far as what kind of proposal we'd like to have, and hopefully be able to do some upgrades with the football field next year at this time. And just finishing off this evening, I just wanted to notify the school board that there will be 2 MOUs in front of you for the voting meeting next week. And one with Julie Raybuck. We've utilized Julie in the past in the summertime for the cyber education program. She'll be working with collaboratively with the Titusville collaborative agreement that is board approved and we're moving forward with. So we have a stipend for her to get her per diem rate whenever she's done working with that. And then also for Mini Logue. And we'll be working with them as far as the amount of time they have, but Mini is going to be instrumental in making changes with special education, scheduling and plan and implementation for the changes. So Dr. Steele is working with staff and Mini up at the high school over the summertime. And then just finishing off, I just want to make note again, Tammy, that we'll be breaking and going into an executive session after this meeting to discuss the Act 44 Safe Schools Annual Report. So if there's no questions or comments, then we'll go ahead and conclude this meeting. And just keep in mind that next Thursday, June 16th at 6 p.m. we'll be in the elementary cafeteria for the face-to-face voting meeting.
David, I would like to say congratulations to Megan on her new addition to the family and a new student coming up in about 6
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I didn't realize. Congratulations, Megan.
Thanks, everybody.
She had a little boy.
All right. Great job.
David, can you resend the link for the executive meeting?
Yeah, I'll send it out right now, Carrie, just so that
Okay.
everybody has that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. See y'all in a bit. Thanks, everybody.